I decided to check out the music and movies at Toys R Us again. This is how things went. All right, 33ers. So last night I popped into one of the local Toys R Us stores here. I was meeting a friend, believe it or not, at a Hooters restaurant, which is, I hadn't been to Hooters in like 20 years, and that's also gone downhill quite a bit. But that's not the focus of today's video. I want to talk about Toys R Us. And I was curious because I did a video about Toys R Us last year where they are, at least here in Canada, selling records. The story is there's this billionaire guy in Canada and he goes and buys up dead or dying brands. So he bought up Toys R Us, or the rights to Toys R Us in Canada. He bought HMV, the historic record and music store, and he bought Bed Bath & Beyond in Canada. And what he did, he took all those three brands and he put them under one roof called Toys R Us. So you walk into Toys R Us here, and there's a little section inside the Toys R Us dedicated to HMV. They still call it HMV. So I did a video about this a year ago. And at the time, I thought it was interesting, I guess, that Toys R Us has been resurrected and that they are selling records inside Toys R Us locations. But I also commented on the fact that records are kind of expensive and the store was not really organized very well. So while I had this time to kill yesterday, before I went to Hooters, as I said, I thought I'd pop into Toys R Us and see if things had changed or if they had gotten better, but they hadn't. In fact, they gotten worse.
Channel 33 RPM.
I noticed things were not so great when I pulled into the parking lot. It's a huge parking lot. It's a Toys R Us parking lot, and there's like maybe 5 or 6 cars in the parking lot, which is probably how many staff were in the store. Beyond that, the parking lot itself is kind of in a state of disrepair. You can't even really see the lines where to park anymore. I thought, whatever, I'll keep going to the store. So I approach the store and you look up and you see the Toys R Us sign on the store. And even the sign is really worn out and not looking too good. So at this point I'm thinking, I don't think things have gotten really much better with the store. And I walked in and man, I was disappointed. I walked straight to the records section and the store was basically abandoned. There were no customers there. This was a Monday night around 7 p.m. So maybe it was the day of the week and the time. I don't know, but there was really no customers there. And I walked to the music section, or the media, the physical media section. They sell books, they sell CDs, they sell records, and they sell movies. And I went to the records. I thought, well, maybe I'll look for the new Billy Idol record. Maybe they'll have it there for a reasonable price. And the records were not really in any order. They were somewhat ordered, but a lot of things were out of order. The record shelves were kind of sparsely populated, so I was kind of looking for Billy Idol. And the weird thing is on the bottom row, so usually the bottom row of these record bins is reserved for overflow or that kind of stuff, but no, they have regular stuff down there. So, I mean, I don't mind getting on the floor and flipping through records, but most customers I don't think would. So I went to to try to find Billy Idol, and there were artists in there that weren't under I. There was like an H, there was like an R in there. It wasn't ordered in any way. Obviously things had gotten mixed up over the months, or customers were just throwing records in different bins and no one from the store bothered to go through them to ensure that things are categorized properly. So they did not have the new Billy Idol record there, but they did have his debut album, and it was over $40. It was like $44 or something, which was kind of crazy. So I thought, okay, I'm not buying the new Billy Idol record. They don't have it there. I'm probably not buying any record. But I looked through some other ones. It's kind of a similar thing. It wasn't sorted very well, and care had not been taken to ensure everything is still alphabetically. It's like no one really cared about that section, which was disappointing. So they kind of walked over to the movie section to see what was going on there, and I noticed empty shelves. Shelves that had nothing on them where stuff used to be, and I don't know if they sold out or what happened, but there was nothing on those shelves anymore. No one had bothered to restock them. And I looked around the section, the media section. I noticed a few other places where the shelves were just empty, which is a bad look for any store. The movies, well, the records were expensive. The movies themselves weren't terribly priced, but I didn't find anything I particularly wanted. So I left that store quite disappointed. And as I said at the top of this video, maybe one of the most disappointing record stores I've ever visited, because it's poorly organized, it is expensive, and things are kind of starting to look like in a state of disrepair. Like some of the displays and some of the shelving starting to kind of show signs of wear and tear, which again, is not a really good sign. So I've been hearing that other other Toys R Us locations in Canada have been closing. And this is confirmed to me when I posted about this on social media. And a lot of Channel 33 RPM viewers are like, oh yeah, the Toys R Us in my town closed last week or last month, and they had a clearance sale. So I don't think things are looking really good for this experiment, at least here in Canada, the return of Toys R Us and combining Toys R Us with HMV. As my wife stated when I told her about this, she said just a really weird combination that you don't really think about and doesn't really seem to work on paper, like records with toys and housewares as well, like the Bed Bath & Beyond aspect of it as well. She said maybe the idea was to have a place for dads to hang out when their kids are shopping for toys. I don't know, but not all dads are into music or movies or physical media. So that whole thing is really a head scratcher. So it's sad to see. I had high hopes that this was another way to get records in front of people and that this would work and take off, and it'd be an additional option for record shopping with good prices and sales, but none of that happened. So I wouldn't be surprised if more of these Toys R Us locations start closing in Canada. It's unfortunate because I know for a lot of people, Toys R Us is a huge slice of nostalgia. So maybe they can still save the HMV brand, at least in this country, and do something else with it. I don't know. I also hear that Toys R Us locations are opening up again in other parts of the world, but those ones are focusing strictly on toys, so I'll be curious to see how that goes. All right, 33ers, Toys R Us selling records. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep on spinning.